Huh. Effects of cocoa butter on serum lipids in humans. All right.
How's it going tonight, Scotty?
It's going great. And you?
Oh, I can't complain. That's for
I'm
sure.
glad. I'm glad. Getting ready for tomorrow night's big show.
Oh, yeah, I got to do a few things, but not it won't be too bad. I think we have 4 guests on tomorrow night, so it'll be a busy night.
Oh, that's good. That's good. People until you do this type of thing, right? You really are. What do you call it? You are you are really operating in an unknown space because running the camera and doing things and keeping the conversation going and dipping into the chat and bringing things up, it's a
Yeah.
little more effort than some people are willing to think about, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There really is. It's surprising, but it definitely gets busy for sure. And just keeping track of
Absolutely.
everything.
So I'm looking at cocoa butter because I think you've heard me talk about using cocoa butter,
Yeah.
and I get some off of Amazon. I've used a couple different varieties of it, and I love it in my coffee. I still drink coffee,
Sure.
and it makes my coffee taste like and smell like cocoa, like chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Only there's none of the phytochemicals. There's nothing of what some might call the negatives of like oxalates. There's a lot of oxalates in cocoa powder, the chocolate part,
Okay, yep.
but there's not any in the cocoa butter itself in the fat.
Hmm.
And cocoa butter is what do you call it? One of the highest sources of stearic acid. So it's an interesting topic, and it does wonderful things. Matter of fact, it helps your mitochondria get just happy with life.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I think what happens is people learn in doing four things at one time. People don't understand that when they eat the lifestyle we're eating here, right? That's all animal based foods.
Yeah.
You're naturally getting more stearic acid in your diet,
Yeah.
and
Make
so what we see is we see people doing better, feeling better, eating this. But when you drill down into the data, thing I like to say is, why are they doing better, right? What is making it better? It's not just the component of quote unquote or the macro group of meat, of
mhm.
protein. It's not just the macro group of fats. So, hello, Susan. I bring some of my cocoa butter up from the shop. Oh, okay, yeah. What do you do? What shop is that, Susan? I didn't know about any shops. You didn't tell me about a shop. When did we start going shopping? But yeah, I bring the cocoa. I get the cocoa butter and I shave the cocoa butter and I put it into a Tupperware. And then every time I make a cup of coffee, I pull it out, sprinkle some in my coffee, and it's so good.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. That's what you like to do.
Are
Why
you
not?
a coffee drinker?
I'm not a coffee drinker at all. Just
Oh,
I can't stomach it for some reason.
well, hey, then you're saving a lot of money, that's for sure. Oh, soap making. I love my cousin's wife made soap, and she gave me some for this past year, and I didn't use it. I didn't use it, and then I finally used it. I was, oh my gosh, I love it. So yeah. Now I think almost all cocoa butter is edible, but not all soap is. So I'd have to be careful about that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't like the taste of soap.
now how would you know what the taste of soap is?
Oh, I was young once and got myself into trouble.
Yeah, you and me both. My mom never hesitated to do that, and I tried it a couple times with my kids, and I said, I remember what it was like. I don't like that.
I don't think I ever did that to my kids, but I know I had it a couple times and it was terrible.
It is wonderful. Susan, handmade soap. Now, Susan, one of the things I was doing for my cousin, his wife, I don't like to call her my cousin. I don't I just use her name, Laurel. But what we went to go visit them, it was so funny too. Almost funny. Uh, I got into this whole lifestyle change in July. On July 4th, I was up in Mackinac Island. All right, up there in the Great Lakes, Lake Huron, and all that. And we drove within what I think is 45 to 50 miles of Cary at Homestead Howe. I had no idea who he was, what he did. I was oblivious. and here I am now thinking, oh wow, if I could be driving by, I'd stop in and say hi, you know?
Right.
But anyway, I knew I was going up, and I said on the way up to Mackinac Island, which is up there in Michigan, right? The UP. Well, my cousin lives in Wisconsin, so we drove up to Wisconsin, then all the way over the top, went over the UP, and came down to Mackinac. Right? Beautiful drive. Loved the drive. But knowing that I was going up to see him, I rendered a bunch of tallow for her because they use a lot of tallow in soap making, don't they, Susan? Or they can use tallow. At least that's what Grandma used on the Clampets. Beverly Hillbillies. Were you ever a fan of that, Greg?
Oh, I watched it a few times. It's been a long time, but yeah, I remember that show.
I remember when it was kind of new. I love that show, and every time I didn't know until the longest time when we talk about when you talk about programming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time before Ellie Mae comes in on a scene, they played a little trill of music. There's a little bit of music, right? And I never knew it, but I knew also, oh, wow, Ellie Mae's showing up. I couldn't tell you why.
Right.
And Ellie Mae was quite a phenomenon. I love that. Yes. And large. Yep. Yep. I think the saponification is the word I was looking for. Have you ever got to use that word in a sentence before, Greg?
I have not.
I can barely pronounce it. And I remember that when I was trying to pronounce it with my soap making family member, I couldn't figure out how to say it. But then she said, oh, yeah, that's how you do that. But great. Hello, Julie. How are you? Tallow from cow, Lloyd from pig. Yes, that is true. And then if you get to the real aficionados of that, you could have leaf fat. And the leaf fat is that fat around the kidneys. And it's much more, well, if we think about ectopic fat, it's much more, it's not like the fat on around your steak. You know, when you get a good steak, a ribeye, you have a nice, consistent, creamy fat. The fat over around the kidneys that they call the leaf fat is very, well, it looks like cellulite, for lack of better words, right? And there's a lot of fibrous material and little pockets, and it's almost dry and crumbly. It breaks up in your hands. And it's supposed to have a lot of nourishment in it.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Hello, Julie, everybody. Okay, we'll go ahead. We're going to throw some of this on the screen. Sorry about that. Soap making. Yes. So Suzanne makes soap. All right. I'm going to catch up on this real quick, and we'll go here. The creamiest soap around. Now, is that I know there's a couple ways. There's a cold way of doing soap and a hot soap. And I don't know which one. Hello, Arlene. I say a little stearic acid. Oh, you studied a little on the stearic acid, did you? You've got my attention. All right. Oh, are you in two? I want to. Oh, is she in on two?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Okay. All right.
Or three of them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you studied a little bit on all of it, so you had to put one for each one. I get it. Well, do tell if you want to. And tell you what, I'm gonna post the link. And if you want to come in and tell us directly without having to use your digits, that's sometimes hard to do. How about for you, Greg? Do you find that sometimes it's just easier to get on the camera than to do all the typing?
Yeah, sometimes, definitely.
Yep. Yep. You use steric acid. Yeah, because I think when you use steric acid in a pure form, it makes steric acid being a long chain, a long fatty acid, right? A long chain fatty acid. It is, and it's one way where a carbon bond, uh, one bond is on the same side and one is on the opposite side, and it's actually when they call it a trans, right? And kind of interesting how that word is used when it's the wrong side. Anyway, they use steric acid to put on chocolate. So if you ever go to a chocolatier and you see the chocolate that has a high shine to it, it's because they put the steric acid in it, and it's very firm at a fairly warm temperature.
Hmm.
And so they use that. They use it to coat things too. Like they'll use it as a coating on different pills and foods and stuff like that. So, yep. So talk to me, Greg, about how much easier it is in doing what you do now today after both what is it 7 months?
Yeah, 8 months I've been. Yeah.
So 8 months of doing and you're doing the videos pretty quickly along the way.
Yeah, I would say so. It's been going pretty good. I originally, when I started my channel, I started it around this time last year, and I was actually called the review guy.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yep, I reviewed products and usually food products, and then as my lifestyle changed, so did the products I started reviewing, and it changed to more like keto type products, low carb type products, and then pretty soon I just decided, well, I'm going to make this my weight loss life and talk about my life and how much it's changing. And yeah, I mean, my life has changed a bunch. I mean, I'm able to do a lot more things that I wasn't able to do before. I think back, there's one point early in the year I bought a cane because I was going to need it to walk. So, and I don't need that. So it's really made a difference for me. So,
Well, that's awesome. And now, when I was trying to see how much easier is it for you now to do what you do with 8 months of both the lifestyle and the technology and interacting with people, and you had that wonderful out of the left field find by a major
yeah.
publisher.
Yeah.
Has that made things more difficult or easier for you?
It really gave me a bump. I can tell this week that the article didn't come out this past weekend because I haven't been getting as many subscribers as the previous week.
Right.
When all of a sudden I shot up, 400 subscribers like that. I think I was around the 700s, and next thing you know, I'm at 1150 something right now. So just in a couple weeks time, yeah, I shot up 400 or 500 subscribers, which was nice because it just I like to get my story out there to more people, and I think the more people that see it or hear it, or it's going to be a positive thing to hopefully help other people. So,
Well, absolutely. But how about your comfort level in front of the camera?
it's definitely getting better and stronger. I mean, to be honest, I'm an introvert. That's the surprising thing, but I'll say this, I'm not so much anymore. I've become more confident, and I can speak when I need to, I guess. And yeah, I've definitely got better with my videos. I get more comfortable speaking. There's still a little bit of things I need to work on. Once in a while, I like to say a little too much or and I got to work on that a little bit. But my goal is to get better with every episode, with everything that I do, and it definitely gets better and easier. And I found myself really busy with once I had that article hit. I've been very successful with my weight loss, and I have a lot of people asking me questions. I'm kind of working on a program right now for weight loss. locally, I just asked for some volunteers that would be interested in learning more about it and put them through like a 6 or 8 week program just to basically teach them what I did when it came to starting a weight loss plan, bringing the mental side of things, because it is a mental journey as well as a physical journey.
Right.
And so I'm kind of in the process, and that's actually what I was working on right when you came on, was an outline for that. Because I was approached, or I actually approached the local YMCA here
Hmm.
about having a place to have these meetings, and they were interested in kind of partnering with me. So I'm kind of getting an outline together for them, and I'm hoping that maybe something can take off from there and do something in house at the Y. With helping coach people, because I think a lot of times people just need someone to go to, to ask questions to get them going. Because not everybody's on YouTube watching YouTube videos,
No.
so it's one of those things that they want answers and they want somebody in face to face. I definitely like working with people one on one, face to face if I can. That's usually my strength. I
Right.
guess that's why I don't mind working in front of the camera, because it's just me and the camera. But more people see it, so it's okay though. I like that and enjoy it. So
Good. Well, I think that's good for people to hear because I mean, one of the one of the challenges with public speaking, I've heard people, and I used to do Toastmasters.
yep, I'm familiar with them.
I've done a few things like that, and they'll tell you time and again, one of the things people fear the most is getting in front of people and speaking.
Yep.
And this is doing that in a way, but I think this is a much more, I guess I would say, controlled space and safer space.
hmm
I mean, at any point in time, you can put your hand in front of the camera, you can push the off button, you can walk away.
Yeah.
Most of the people we're going to talk to, we don't live in the town with them. So
Right.
that's going to change a lot for you when you do something at the Y, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of approached it as I just wanted to do this. It's kind of been a dream of mine, to be honest, for a long time, as I always wanted to kind of coach people, especially with losing weight,
Hmm.
because I've struggled with it my whole life. And if I can get there, I can help others. And, I'm working my way there. I'm not there completely yet, but I'm working on it. But, when people start asking you, how'd you do this? Then it's time to listen a little bit, because there's people that need help and guidance. And, I think I just asked for volunteers just on my Facebook thing, and I had 4 people private message me and say, "Yeah, I'm interested." So, and I'm not charging them. It's one of those things they can learn this stuff, and I basically want to get the program in place. So I kind of write it each week, and I'm kind of doing an outline for the whole program, but I want to develop it and then run these people through the test and see how they do, basically, and then kind of go from there and help people. And maybe I'll do something online, or, I don't know, whatever. Sky's the limit. I just want to help people make a difference. That's what it's about for me.
Well, I think that's an honorable thing to do. I mean, that's what I think we all should do, and we have a strength, and it can be a lot of it can be a lot of different things.
hmm
Gardening. I mean, you know, I don't want to sound, you know, out there, but I like gardening.
hmm
I think knowing how to grow food type of gardening is good, and I think growing nice flowers is good. My wife is a whiz at growing roses, particularly knockout roses, and she
Nice.
knows all about how to where to trim them, the right place to prune them, and the time to prune them, and they just grow up. And all year long, I get to see these beautiful rose bushes all around the house,
That's
and
awesome.
rose bushes are fairly well. I guess the way I've heard it is they're pretty easy until they're not, and then if they start getting some funky wilt, like the pine tree, that great big pine wilt, then you're chasing your tail trying to get those healthy again. But I think whatever skill you have, it's always good to be able to share it with other people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what it's about. I think you just help others, serve others. I mean, that's what it's really about. And if there's people that need help, then by golly, I don't want to stop them from being successful. I want to help them.
So, what do you think of some of the techniques you're going to use when you like have to do an icebreaker? Like, people get in the room, you have to do an icebreaker. You're going to have to find ways to engage them and have them want to share with you, because that's the hardest thing sometimes in a group, is to get them to see you as non-adversarial because you're in front of them.
Right.
Tell them, hey, we can all just kind of, let's just park all our fears and questions over here, and let's just address some of the things we want to address. So, what type of icebreakers are you thinking about maybe incorporating into this?
I think for me, I think the big thing is just kind of telling my story, because they'll listen to what has been going on in my life, and and I'll make myself vulnerable. I'll share things that maybe I wouldn't share with just anybody, just so they understand, that hey, we're all human, we all go through things, we all struggle, we all make mistakes, and make them feel very comfortable with that, and set up a non-judgmental zone so people, are more apt to maybe share part of themselves with everybody or the group or myself. With whatever struggles they're having. I just want them to be comfortable and be themselves, and know that it's a judgment free zone, that they can be successful here, and just listen to people. But I plan on sharing my story. I plan on bringing in some inspirational stories. I got some videos I'm going to do, possibly I probably almost each week, and then also bring in guest speakers, like I'll bring in someone that wants to talk about a low carb diet, because my whole philosophy is I've done the gamut of diets in my lifetime, from the standard American diet, exercise and watch what I eat, and I lost the weight. Low carb, I've lost weight. Keto, I've lost the weight. Ketovore, I've lost the weight. Carnivore, I've lost the weight. So it's one of those things, what I'm saying is, maybe carnivore isn't for everyone, but it doesn't mean they can't be successful on keto or a low carb diet. And I want them to decide what they want to go with as far as the plan that they want to go on. In some cases, something may not work for someone where they have to try a different plan. But I just kind of feel there's more than one ways to the finish line. There's several ways, but at the same time, I highly recommend that people start with a low carb diet and then go from there. And that's kind of what I've done, I guess you could say. So, but I think just keeping people interested and motivated and sharing success stories, and there's really a lot to it, when you're just starting out on a weight loss plan and tracking the food, meal planning, understanding what low carb is, understanding what keto is, understanding what carnivore is. I mean, there's just a lot of different things. Even though they're all similar, they're a little bit different. But it's just one of those things. I just don't think people understand the food and how much it impacts their weight, especially the wrong foods. I go to the grocery store now and just look at it totally different. I was at Walmart the other night, and I was in the baking aisle, and I just kind of shook my head, because there's a very large section for sugar. And I was just like, this is the worst thing you could eat right here. And they have a huge section of it.
Who knew there'd be so many different types of sugar?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not even the fake sugar. I'm not even going there. I'm just like, but I think what you're hating on, though, is I think a lot of people, I mean, I don't know how many, you could even start off with something that talks about the diet industry. How big is the diet industry?
Right.
And then you can juxtapose the diet industry against the food industry, right? And then, so when people go in there, you can put them at ease. Say, you know what, you're not the only one who is either, how do you say it? Maybe you don't say it like this right away, but along the way, bamboozled, confused, overwhelmed, underwhelmed, because it's not easy. And I think a lot of people in this space have said multiple times how the complexity of it is hidden in all the messaging. So,
Right.
and you were literally victims of this whole messaging thing. And so, hey, you're not the only one. We've all been here, and it's very understandable. And most of the people are going to go are probably going to be overweight, right? You probably won't have a really fit person there.
Right.
So that then you've got a person who's, for lack of a better word, vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe, like you said, been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Right.
What are you going to tell me that I don't already know?
Right.
Nothing. So hats off to you, though. That'd be great. Um, you're going to be now. Do you have to worry about liability issues?
At this point, no, just because I've not collected any money to do this, and I actually will have a waiver that everybody signs. Uh, you know, basically keeping me from any of that. But down the road, I probably will have to do something, I'm guessing. But for this volunteer thing, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So
Oh, I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm just picking.
no, yeah, no, that's all valid points or good questions because it's definitely something to think about. And I think the biggest thing is I just want to see how this test run goes, and then I can go from there. Whether I create an online program, because I wouldn't mind doing this. I think you could find more people if you were online, and you have Zoom meeting every week, where you can have 100 people in there doing this. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I still like the personal touch, and if I can help affect my local community in a positive way, I'm willing to try that too. So, because I know there's a lot of people out there that need help, or they don't know where to start, or they don't understand, and they need more guidance. So,
Absolutely. Now, do you already have like a website idea for or a presence where, like, even Google Docs, where you could put resources like, here's a link, go here if you want to learn about this, this, and this, and this, and hand them a cheat sheet.
yeah, that's something I've got to basically putting it all together. I mean, definitely, I've got that's something else I'm trying to work on is get a website going. There's just so many things I can do with it. Even just using YouTube, you can make videos private that you send to people that they get to see it. It wasn't sent out to everybody. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that there's so many tools out there it's just a matter of using it all and figuring it all out. And I'm not a technology whiz either. I kind of learn as I go, and it takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, and, Julia threw up just throws a bone there about the Seventh Day Adventists and vegetarian diets, and I think one of the Kellogg's was an engineer, the other was a psychiatrist, and and the psychiatrist was working to deal with men's libido, and found out eating a grain diet made you less, or believe would make you less focused on that. And what's amazing is people, good people, smart, educated people can be have a jaundiced eye towards their passion. Like, no one wants to admit that they have an ugly baby, right?
Right.
And so I think that uh, a lot of things that have been detrimental in the long run were born out of good intentions,
Hmm.
right? Um, if not off track intentions, and then they get hijacked by individuals and organizations. Right? Maybe hijack's a too strong term. How about co-opted? Right?
Hmm.
Sometimes when you're what is it old saying? The enemy, the friend. Right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right?
Yep.
That's what you see in a lot of quote unquote old world type things, where they'll sit there and say, "Oh, I don't like you. I don't know you. I don't like you. I don't dislike you. But if you're the enemy of my enemy, we have something in common." Well, then what happens is you get into bed with people and start making oaths. And we know how poorly that worked out for John the Baptist, right?
Hmm.
A king makes an oath, and next thing you know, a susceptible person says, "Hey, mommy, what do I ask for?" Right? Now the king's in a hard place. So the moral of the story there being, be careful how you use your oaths. And so now, as you start out in this endeavor, you have to be careful to whom you become beholden to. So Like it could be the Y.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been warned on that. That's like the third time I've heard that. So I'm like, oh no.
Oh, I know. I'm not talking about the Y. I mean, but there are other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works where you're at, but where I'm here in Alabama, each county district has different offices in the county,
Yeah.
and that office is free. They have free space. All you have to do is sign up for it, and you can use it to hold community meetings, all sorts of things. You can't really do business there, but
Right.
doing something like what you're doing, you could teach first aid, CPR.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of resources to find a place, but I think it is smart to go to the Y. A lot of people still see the Y as for lack of a better word, a vending machine. I can get different things there,
Yeah.
and it's neutral. Neutral. You don't have to worry about it because of professionals there. It's like one of my sons loved to go skateboarding. And one of the places that we had allowed him to go skateboarding was at the Salvation Army. They had a skateboard rink
Oh,
indoor.
nice.
So you want to go there? Fine. You can still get hurt, but we liked their messaging. We knew there was adult supervision there. So it made it more tenable. Does that make sense?
Right. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they have personal trainers there too. Where I can involve the Y if they want to do the exercise piece, where they come in as a guest and talk about fitness. For 15 minutes of the hour that I meet with people, I'm okay with doing that because some of these people coming into these meetings may have never exercised a day in their life. They don't even know where to start. So I mean, it's very possible. Because you could deal with a wide range of ages. So for sure.
Oh yeah, and they could even come in. You could tell, hey, and you can come in and say, hey, there's the advantage of joining the Y.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things. Now, I would venture that as you go forward and you enjoy success, there are a number of various organizations that would be interested in something like that. To be sure, foster care, programs,
Mm-hmm.
because there's, I was able to get involved in that a little bit, and it's amazing how medicated children are in the foster care program.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how, if we were to look at that segment of the population, what obesity looks like in the foster programs.
Right.
Because I know from my personal journey, I eat my stress. And I don't know if there could be any more stressed people on the planet than outside of Israel and parts of the Gaza Strip right now, but
Yeah.
children who are being passed off family to family to family, who are highly medicated, and emotionally, how do you say that in Star Trek? Compromised, right?
Right.
So, and if you tie that in with a good exercise program, I mean, what dividends could be paid down the road, even if a young person doesn't get the whole thing, but says, you know what, maybe what I'm going to do today is I'm going to stop eating things that have high fructose corn syrup in it.
Yeah.
Like I can have didn't they make for a while? I don't drink it anymore. I used to have a real soda problem, but even diet soda. But didn't they used to make some of these sodas with real sugar, like where they went back to cane sugar?
Yeah, they still do. You can find it in the store. I know I've seen, I just saw some the other day at the gas station. They had Mountain Dew with cane sugar. It was in it. Yeah, they make it that way, but most of it has a high fructose corn syrup for the sugar ones, for sure.
That brand you just mentioned, which I will not mention,
Yeah.
is the bane of the dental community.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it, but it has an oil in it. Have you ever looked at the label on it?
I haven't, I guess.
Yeah, they have an oil in it, and the oil. This is what my English is a second language. my dental technician, hygienist. I'm not sure exactly. Hey, Bypass, good to see you. My dental person said, yeah, the one of the big things with I'm gonna look it up real quick right now, and is that it has an oil in it.
That's very interesting.
Look it up real quick. And okay, yes, it's true. The maker of Mountain Dew. Oh, they removed the BVO from the product in 2014. BVO is a food additive that is used as stabilizer and to help prevent the flavor from separating from the rest of the drink. So it is free of BVOs now, but before it was not. It was brominated vegetable oil. Can you imagine? No. But that was one of the things they said was causing a lot of problem because the oil would trap the everything against your teeth, and your saliva had no chance to get it off.
Oh, that's
That's why you
interesting.
see people with all along the gum line with all these horrible cavities and everything. But they go, must be a Mountain Dew drinker. But again, I think that would be wonderful. Hello, my weight loss life, saying hi to everybody there. I see what you did there.
Yeah, I was just saying hi to Bypass Carnivore and anybody else that's on the chat. Hello.
Well, I'm
Yes, I
showing
missed you.
11 people in.
Awesome.
So that's great. But getting back to it, I think that, we talk about this being helpful, but there's probably a lot of children.
Yeah.
So where this goes is, in my head, if you want to know how the squirrel runs around the cage, is as you develop this program and you get it into a binder of some sort, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe you call it a 6-step program or 7-step program, whatever it is, and you get your, what a Venn diagram is, the overlapping thing going. You get all that working. There are organizations that would say, hey, bind this up and come present it, and then they
Right.
pay you to come present and bring materials,
Yeah.
and then eventually that's how it gets into schools. And you can start with private schools and daycares. I mean, wouldn't it be great if someone at a daycare sometime went, you know what? Maybe we won't give them all that apple juice, and instead we give them water,
Right.
And get kids used to saying, hey, I'm going to eat something other than what comes in a package. I know it's hard,
Right.
but it has to start somewhere, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. It definitely has to start somewhere. Yeah, I would love to help, especially the youth, because I knew what it was like to be overweight as a kid, and it's one of those things. It doesn't have to be that way, and a lot of it, of course, I think comes to educating the parents as well with that, making sure they feed them the right foods, not the easy stuff that's pre-made or going through the fast food drive-through. There's a lot of education to be done with it, I guess you could say.
Well, I know with one of my sons, he had some issues with his temper. Let's just put it that way. We had a challenging time. But now when I look back on it, I'm mindful that there was a lot of sugar in our house. Now, my kids didn't eat a lot of treats, but they could if they wanted to. But when he was really young, I mean like 4, 5, 6, 7, all he would eat was Pop-Tarts, right? And then later on, we owned an ice cream shop. But the whole idea is maybe some of that argumentative issue he was having was predicated on him being susceptible to those, and he had real narrow jawline that make me think about some things,
Yeah.
Makes my heart hurt after fact as a parent, but it'd be nice to find a way to get in and not scare them off, like saying you got to do all these things, and it's instead of it could be just one fundamental shift, like no more soda.
Yeah. Yeah, even the candy bar after school, or yeah, if they can cut those little things out, it'll make a huge difference. And I'm not saying they can't have treats at all. It really has to be in moderation. And Halloween, you think about all those kids that are going to go out trick or treating, and the bags full of candy they get, and some of those kids will have that candy gone in a couple of days.
You know, my kids never ate their candy, and we'd find it and have to throw it away, or I would eat it. And I wonder if how much of this candy actually ends up in landfills.
Yeah, I bet quite a bit does. I know we've had to throw stuff out before in the past.
Yeah. So, but what would it be like if we could raise a generation of children to not demonize normal fats?
Right.
You know, I
Yep.
want to, because I got to thinking about it, and Greg, I don't know, Greg, do you have any or I think you mentioned it, but do you have surviving parents or grandparents, or you're young?
Just my mother, and she's ailing, so
That's right.
yep.
Well, the reason I said that is, when you look back to how people like look at the yearbooks back in the 50s, you don't see very many obese people, right?
Mm-mm.
Well, but they still ate sweet things. They
Yep.
ate sugar, they ate bread, they ate corn, they ate, all that stuff. They had grits every morning, right? So it makes me wonder that once we get back into our quote unquote healthy self and we maintain it for a period of time, I don't know what that X period of time is, but could it be that it was primarily seed oils and moving away from natural fats
Yeah.
that precipitated it, and then it was exacerbated by all the boxed foods? So in other words, if we get to a healthy place and maintain it, and then we slowly reintegrate healthy foods back in, like what our grandparents and great grandparents ate, and we move, right? Like moving the yard, moving the exercise, whatever you're doing. How well will we be? Will we
Right.
be at least as well as they were?
I think it's a possibility. I think the big thing is the way food is engineered nowadays. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to go natural, or get natural meat from your local beef farmer. You know what I mean? You got to stay away from the preservatives and all the chemical that's put in the foods that we eat. Even in the manufacturing process, they put a lot of preservatives in there. And it's like, well, what's that doing to our bodies? Is it good for us? There's a lot of factors for sure.
Well, most of what you're eating, that what I was thinking of, like I keep thinking of it here recently, meat and potatoes.
Hmm.
If you put a nice piece of beef into a pot and you cook it really hot like a pot roast, and you've got potatoes in there, and you've got onions, and you have carrots, and you bring it up good high temperature, eat it, right?
Yep.
My thoughts are that once you're healthy and you're moving and that's all you do, and then maybe you have an apple after dinner, like in the original wrapper, clean it off, of course.
Yep.
Um, I bet you the detrimental effects of it being a quote unquote engineered food are much less and have much less of an impact. Now, you look at Dr. Saladino, right?
Right.
Has much less of an impact on us by virtue of being a quote unquote whole food. And I don't know. I'm thinking I'm looking forward to that. I really would like to have the day when I could sit down to a Sunday pot roast, right? And not
Yep.
parse everything away. And maybe I don't bury it in gravy. And maybe I don't have, you know, um, Stouffer's potatoes and Stouffer and Betty Crocker cake, right?
Hmm.
You know what I really love? I love like fruit in heavy cream. I would love to do some blueberries, and in heavy cream or strawberries or
Yeah.
peaches, pears. Not the syrup, not the high fructose stuff.
Right.
Man, wouldn't it be great? Or even just to do a nice little homemade ice cream. Like, you put the ingredients in and you blended it and you have a little serving of it and you go, good, and it's enough. Because don't you feel you've got a lot more control over food?
Oh yeah, that's what I like cooking at home. There's just so much more. You really control what goes in it, and it tastes better. And I made some carnivore ice cream the other night, last week, and
I wasn't
it wasn't too bad.
good. So you're developing the aging portion of the carving. What are you saying here? Sorry about age 55. What are you saying here? I think that isn't there a lady that the lady, I'm sorry that her name is escaping me right now. She's a rancher, and Carrie and them are getting ready to go visit her soon.
Isn't that Anthony Chafee's girlfriend's grandmother or something?
Okay,
If
up
I
in
remember
Canada.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's 80. It looks like she's 40. Is 71 too old? Haha. No, 71 is never too old. 71 never looked younger to me than when I turned 61. So I just want to say, but I really do think, Greg, that there's going to be a time when we'll be able to go and eat and not be like paranoid of what we're eating, and then maybe we can sit there. Like I said, I'd like to have potatoes again.
Yeah.
I love potatoes.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites probably for a long time. I have not missed them. I must say, I've not missed potatoes. Even though I lived for them in the past. I mean, that was probably one of my favorites. That and sweet corn. I like sweet corn a lot. Those two I didn't really have. I maybe had a spoon of sweet corn during the sweet corn season, but that's about it. I just wanted to try it just to see if it still tastes the same, and it did.
Well, I think that is true, though. One thing that freedom you get when, there's one thing to me, there's one thing to be said about um, uh, wanting something I'd like to have this and craving, right?
Right.
I don't have craving, so to speak. I'd like to have that.
Yeah.
Um, I can't say like the other day. My wife, she has a half a pear every day. She'll have either a Bradford pear, an Asian pear, or another Anjou pear. I can't whatever. And she likes to get she'll have a half a pear and she'll dice it up. And she's a painter and she likes to go up to her studio and paint and do and stretch and whatever. And she'll take up some pepperonis, cashews, or pecans, and that half a pear diced up, and that goes in a little bowl, and she goes up, and that's what she eats, and it's satiating for her. And I had some pear the other day, and you know what happened?
What happened?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I enjoyed it. I ate it. Didn't have any cravings. Didn't want any more. It was really sweet to me. My taste for sweet. I mean, liver tastes sweet to me now, but.
Yeah.
I see a day when maybe we do get to eat again.
I kind of tell myself that it's like, you know what? I'll have you again someday. I just kind of look at it, I'm so focused on getting to where I want to go that it's like it's not a big deal to give it up temporarily. And will I eat it like I used to? Probably not. But I will. I'll say, heck, I'll have I'll have a little bit of ice cream once in a while. When the time comes. Right now, it's just no. I'm not going to do that. It's too much work to get it back if I have it. So it's one of those things.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that's key. I think Sean over at Intentional Carnivore has said the same thing, and he also said, you make these statements at one point in time in your journey. I'm not going to do this, or I can't wait till I can do that. And then when you get close to it, you go, I don't really have a care for it,
Right?
or that thing that was important to me 12 months ago is no longer important to me.
Yeah.
And I think you touched on a really critical aspect there is we don't tell ourselves no. We don't
Right.
tell ourselves never. We just say, not now.
Right.
Because then the mind doesn't do that Jedi thing on us and make us, what was that old thing about? If I ask you not to think about an elephant for the next 10 minutes, all you'll think about is the elephant for 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's good to deprive ourselves, but at the same time, it's like just delay that, um, I guess that want or that item that you may want to try someday. And that's why I don't say, well, I won't have you ever again. It's like, well, I might. I'm just not right now. I'm too focused on other things. And I think that's a healthy way to look at it. It's easier to put it down or not go out and binge eat, and
Right, right. So Julia says, interesting. I love vegetables, but I realize I've always drenched them in butter or broccoli with mayo.
yeah.
Now, if you made that mayo out of fresh eggs and bacon grease, then bacon mayo, then maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But I tell you what, I know broccoli has a lot of things that could be harmful and whatever else. But if I go to a steak restaurant and they offer me my sides, I normally get 2 steamed broccolis. I haven't died yet, so I feel okay with that.
Yeah.
So Carrie, no man, Carrie is with Maggie, the Canadian rancher. Yeah, Canadian Maggie. Yep. Thank you. I saw an interview with her. Joe, I haven't been able to get on a horse for a few years. If I got on a horse, it'd probably be a crime against animals, or that group would get mad. They'd be no way. It'd have to be a Clydesdale. Isn't that a bigger horse than even a Clydesdale? I don't know the breed, but a great big working horse.
Yeah.
I'd have to get on that. My legs would probably get broken. I'm not ready to straight up Connie. Want to do a tape? See, that's the point there, though. Bypass is when we know what we're susceptible to, and we sit there and say, "No, not now," because I'm not going to control myself. Then absolutely not. But if we speak in absolutes, like "I'll never," I think we set ourselves up for a mental gymnastics that creates a, well, then why can't I? And then you get this little chirping in your ear, and next thing you know, you're face down into a bag of Cheetos, and life's not good, or whatever it is for you. I don't know if it's Cheeto. You're looking forward to age gracefully and strong. I'm looking just to age. After that, I'll try to get the quality of the aging. And then after I can choose the quality of aging, I hope to age without losing my filters. That's what I want. I don't want to lose my filters when I get older. Yep. See, there's always someone who knows about horses. So what else you got planned for this week, Greg?
Well, I'm working on that outline that I got to go meet with the Y. I have an MRI on Friday that I'm a little leery of because I've tried one before and I couldn't do it. I got claustrophobic, so I picked up some Valium today from the pharmacist, and I'll be taking that to see if I can get it done. I'm just having my back looked at to see if there's any issues with spinal stenosis or anything. And then, so I'm kind of doing that for Friday, I guess. And then, just busy working on content for my channel, just trying to throw this program together. There's just a lot of different moving pieces, let alone kind of taking care of my mom too. So it's busy. I mean, especially from last week on, I've been really busy pretty much just with, that Newsweek article coming out and with YouTube and everything else. So it's been pretty busy.
So when aging is, one of the things about aging is having a thought and then losing that thought. So the MRI.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was it that you had the MRI, your last MRI?
The first one I didn't complete it. I walked out, and I want to say it was back in April. I want to say it was April. I was just trying to remember. Yeah, I'm
Did
pretty
you,
sure it was around like April or so. Maybe, unless it might have been last fall, actually. I'm trying to remember because I think it was last fall, actually, and I kind of walked away. And then I actually, in December, I applied for disability, and it took like 6 months to hear back. And then I was denied. And then I had to go through physical therapy, which tomorrow's my last day of that. And then I have to go for the MRI. But, in January, I thought I was disabled. I mean, I felt disabled. I didn't think I'd be able to work. I could hardly walk. But today it's like, I can already know I'm not going to win my case because I've changed. I'm a lot healthier. I mean, I lost 100 pounds. I can move better. I feel better. Do I still have arthritis in my knees and ankles and hips? Yeah, but it's more of a stiffness, not so much pain. And I think a lot of that had to do with my diet, obviously. And I think carnivores really helped with that. So, I'm just, they're just checking out the MRI, make sure I don't have any spinal stenosis. And, once I get the all clear on that, then it's like, well, I'm probably going to, I don't know, I'm trying to juggle everything. And I kind of had that in my video I made today for tomorrow. I talk about that right now. It's a struggle for me because I'm kind of torn on what to do because I don't want to stop taking care of my mom. Because if I do, then she's going to end up in a nursing facility, and she's in her last days, basically. I mean, they gave her 5 months to live 5 months ago. So it's one of those things that she's still doing pretty well. I mean, she's getting along, and I don't want to leave her, I really don't want to start a job until I'm done with that. But at the same time,
right.
financially, really struggling. So I've got to juggle that, let alone I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing this program. I got a million things going on. So I'm kind of torn as to what I should do other than just keep working on my weight loss. But I'm just trying to balance all that out now. And hopefully I get some more answers from the MRI on Friday. Next week, maybe I'll get the results and find out where I'm at. Cause then, if anything, I can go to work part-time, maybe full-time, and I'll still be able to take care of my mom. Cause I only go over there, pretty much every day for like an hour or so just to help her out. Like today I took her to coffee and did a little shopping with her. But, it's tough. You're trying to do everything, and it's just, let alone I'm trying to take care of me.
Right. Well, so you've never completed an MRI then?
No, nope. I got claustrophobic, and I just said, nope, I won't go back. And then I don't know, when I applied for disability and was denied, I actually talked to an attorney, and he said, you need to get that done if you want a chance to win your case. Well, I'm still going through the motions of that, but I know deep down it's like, well, I've gotten a lot stronger. I don't have those, I'm able to get around a lot better than I was. So, it's just one of those things. We'll see what the MRI says, but like I said, I'll probably be doing something else here coming up down the road.
Well, okay. So I'm going to share with you some experience. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
wisdom of sorts. I've had multiple MRIs, and I agree with you. And when you're really big, like I am, you don't fit in an MRI machine.
Right.
So one thing I want to say is, one, um, you're a lot smaller, so the space won't be as confining.
Right.
Two, you've got much greater mental clarity and understanding. That goes in your favor. Three, the number one thing I could do when I fit in that little tube and the top was literally really close to my face, I asked the technician to give me a washcloth,
Hmm.
and they put it over my eyes and over, just, I could still breathe, right? But they
Yeah.
put it there, and I had no idea where the thing was.
Right.
I actually now can fall asleep in an MRI machine. I've been in it so frequently, even though they're loud. You get to hear, you get the things in.
Yeah.
They also make an open MRI,
Yeah.
so it's like a great big, C, and then you're not enclosed. So I offer that to you if you're going to go through it. You got the Valium. Like, can they just don't block your nose
Right.
because it makes the air too warm, and then you start thinking you're under the covers some. Just block those eyes, man, dude. That works so well for me.
Yep. I know I tried closing my eyes last time, and I made the mistake and opened them, and then it was not good.
That's why I put the washcloth on it. Okay, it was a dry washcloth, right? I couldn't see, right?
Yep.
But you're a lot smaller now too, so I think that that will help also with it. But again, it's loud. It's it's in enclosed, but they'll get you out in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be able to sweat through it. You know,
Yeah.
you'll be all right. So you're gonna do an MRI. You're gonna work on your program. You're gonna work on, of course, taking care of your mom, and then if you had to go back to what type of work would you go back to?
I was a hotel general manager. I've been a case manager, social worker. I mean, I know about the programs that somebody mentioned in the comments.
Right?
I just haven't went that route. It's still not enough money to really
No.
make that big of a difference, to be honest. So that's why I didn't do that. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's just everything will work out. God's good all the time, so
Yes.
I'm not too worried about that. It seems like God's opening a lot more doors for me, and my YouTube channel's growing and getting bigger, and it's just one of those things that yeah. I mean, God's got plans for me. I have no doubts on that. I'm just not sure what
Absolutely.
it all is yet.
Well, I've been thinking that they have so many call center type job people that it's a work you can do from the home.
Right.
Sometimes they have a pretty demanding. You got to turn so many tricks a day.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you have a plan for what you can plan for, and then you have a plan for what can't be planned for, in surrendering it to the cross. So, I mean, you sound like you're in an enviable position.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I really feel good with where I'm at. And I don't think, it's one of those things. My mom's, in her last days, the way I look at it, but, I'm really at peace with what's going on in her life, and she's at peace too. So it makes it a little bit easier. There's no words left unsaid. So it's been kind of a blessing in a way to be able to just take care of my mom and enjoy our time together. And, like I said, a lot of people sometimes struggle with that stuff. Yet I have all this other stuff going on, let alone I've lost 100 pounds since
Hey,
January just by changing the way I eat. So there's a lot of things going on, but I'm relatively stress free, so I can't complain.
your mom's a believer too, I take it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
When my father-in-law passed, he was a real strong believer a little over a year ago, and it was it was an amazing thing to watch a man be as graceful as he was. He wasn't in a great situation, somewhat to say, but I know my wife would drive. It was a pretty good drive. She'd drive up to spend all the time she could with him, to care for him, and she was there with him the last moments. And the idea is that as a believer, and he would say, I know what's supposed to happen. I know what's going to happen. I'm just not looking forward to that threshold moment. Now, right before the threshold moment,
hmm
but with such grace, he did, and others that we've watched, not so much grace, right? And I
right.
think that is such a wonderful thing to be able to know that you know that you know.
Yep, definitely.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Hey, Greg, it's my weight loss life is his channel. There you go. You got it
Yep,
right there.
it's correct in there. I just was going to type thank you for that.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing now. I think that that was a high. You see, I know he had on me today. I went in it with a steel rod through my eyeball. Whoa, whew. Well, I'm glad that nothing like that happened to you there. I mean, man, sometimes I tell people, and I've said to myself, on Sunday morning when I go to church, the church I go to, I'm a Southern Baptist, and when we go to church, the men of the church get together and pray before everything. And I don't think that's unique to that denomination, but I'm saying we get together. Well, remember, I went down to the Gulf Shore, had a vacation, drove back up, everything's great. And I said, how many times did God intervene for me on that trip to me to be able to sit there and say nothing happened, right? All that
Right.
time on the road, and I think about it because here in the last 6 months, we've had two people I know who family members have been involved in head-on collisions with people who came across the road completely into their line of traffic out of nowhere, right? And the people who came across the lines of traffic had already, at least the prayer, had already become deceased, like from a heart attack or something, and then left their line of travel, hit their car. And by the grace of God, other people weren't in their cars. Things worked out really well. So, yeah, vehicles were totaled and everything like that. But, you know, it can't get to be a much better story than to know that the person in the other car had already passed and the people that you love the most weren't in your car and you got the best out of it. You walked away from it. One of my friends, he go dump truck, cement truck driver. Somebody decided out of nowhere to slam their brakes on right in the middle of an intersection in front of them, and they jumped out of their car as he plowed through them.
Oh, jeez.
And the vehicle turns. If it had turned the other way, he wouldn't be with us anymore. And you're a member of one of my men's accountability groups. The point being, like you said, we never really know how much we are being protected. The battle's being fought for us just so we can be here. And then we have bypass talking about, hey, I didn't get that metal rod through my eye and my head. So, amen. That's gotta praise when we don't have those things happen to us. And sometimes it's hard though. Well, I had another day where nothing calamitous happened.
Right.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. So hedge of protection that we already subbed. We have our age. All right. Yep. Well, we're getting all sorts of subs going on here. That's good.
Yeah.
I like
Thank you,
that.
everybody. Yeah.
You're able to break down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that the whole MRI thing will work out well. You know, what's going to be amazing is what they don't find in your MRI now that you have this weight. Because I've heard of people, you know, with their getting their the weight off the front, that visceral fat.
Yeah.
Their backs tend to heal up, and them discs can heal up. I mean, wasn't it when we were kids? Didn't they tell us your brain once it was done, it was it, and all you did is you lost brain cells from there on out, and they never regrew.
I think so. I remember that. Seems like I remember that.
But now they're like, no, that's not true, and things do heal if they're in the proper environment and all that stuff. Wouldn't it be interesting to know that stenosis might be somewhat? I'm not going like I started off talking about cure. I don't use the word cure, but alleviated. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I mean I haven't been to the chiropractor now for a couple months since I did physical therapy and just like I said with doing carnivore because I started carnivore when I was in the middle of physical therapy and right away I noticed a difference in pain levels. I will say this: the last week I've definitely been a little more stiff. And the weather's gotten a little colder here, so I'm the jury's still out on things for me, but I'm hopeful that things will turn out and for me. And I feel I'm really blessed in the whole situation anyways. So, everything happens for a reason. And just like me being able to take care of my mom right now, I mean, it's all kind of lined up and like I said, doors are opening and more doors will open for me. So, yep, definitely.
Well, that happened to my father. My father, who retired military, got his education. He started education, went in the military, finished the military, got his education, became an engineer. Had great jobs, doing great stuff, out there saving America. And then all of a sudden he lost his job.
Mm-hmm.
And then a month later, my mom came down with terminal cancer.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, 7 months later, she passed. And my dad had all that time to be with her the whole time. Sometimes when we look back with that 2020 vision, we realize the predicament we were in was more of a blessing than we realized in that time. And you're aware of it as it's happening, that real time thing. But I'm thinking And I wanted to ask Greg, what do you think? If I don't, did you do very well with doing a food journal along your path here?
I did early on. I did. I tracked all my food in an app, so I know exactly what I ate, and could break it down for people. And that's why when I was low carb, I pretty much went keto. I was eating 1,300 calories a day, and I tried to keep it under 20 grams of carbs. And that was how I lost 85 pounds. I was doing keto. So it's just the last 4 weeks I've been on carnivore. Now I'm in my fifth week here, but yeah, I mean, I tracked my food, and that was a big deal. You have to do that, I think. But it got to be the point where I was so used to eating, I kind of ate the same foods. I didn't need to really track it anymore because I already knew in my mind what I could eat. But early on in the plan, it's very important to do that. And I think even in a carnivore situation, I know carnivores say, well, don't track your calories, but I don't think it's a bad thing to log and journal your food so you know how it affects you, because maybe certain foods that are carnivore affect you. So it's kind of good to know, what you're doing and what's going on. So, or if there's something little that you changed and you add it, then hey, that extra butter I put on didn't sit so well with my stomach, type of thing. So,
well, that's a question I have for you. With the focus being on inflammation in your arthritic condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had a period of time when you felt better. Now you're going to go into colder months, and you think you'll have more of a challenge with it, or you are having more of a challenge. But what about maybe something in your diet has also changed? Because people tend to, like you said, they get a pretty redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And they find what works, and maybe could it be that your fat content has decreased, and maybe you would have less inflammation? Because I know Dr. Bright talks about, and other people do, cholesterol is such an important substrate for our body. I didn't know if maybe there was hay to be made, so to speak, in you reviewing, going, I really have cut back on, like, I don't know, eggs and butter, or I don't know how you got your fat and what type of fats and what works for you and doesn't work for you, but
Right.
it might be a way for you to think about, how do I help the histamine response in my body, the inflammation response?
I probably need to do a better job of tracking what I'm doing right now. I mean, I kind of know what I eat, and I kind of eat the same things, and I do eat quite a few eggs. And I tell you what, I lose weight when I eat eggs. So
How many eggs is quite a few eggs?
Probably, I bet I 8 a day.
Okay.
Yep, 6 to 8 a day, I would say I eat for eggs. Calorie wise, I put that in a couple times. It really depends on how much meat I have, and if it is red meat. I would say I probably only eat 1,500 to 1,800 calories on carnivore. I think I'm in the mindset you still, don't have a lot of, don't eat all those calories. And I question it still, because I know some people say they eat so many, but at the same time, their weight loss is kind of stagnant. And it's like, well, maybe you're still eating a little too much. And it's like, really, you can be satisfied. I'm still 288 pounds, and I'm satisfied with eating, 1,600 to 1,800 calories in a day. I mean, I'm not going hungry. So maybe some carnivores are possibly overeating still. And I know calories just a unit of measurement. I get that. But at the same time, could we be overeating? Possibly. I think there's a good possibility.
I was just talking with Carnivore Cure, Todd,
Mm-hmm.
last night, and he's doing the steak and butter gang thing, and he's priming right now. Have you heard of this?
The priming?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
So if we step out of that comment and we go back to something we're all pretty aware of, the Biggest Loser competition.
Yep.
All right. Those people who were really big, they really worked them out like nobody's business.
Yeah, they did.
And it was almost inhuman what they put them through. And they put on a super hypocaloric diet, very calorie, and they lost a lot of weight. But one of the things that happens when you do that for everybody is your basal metabolic rate reduces. So then what happens is, from what my understanding is, and I'm not a doctor and I didn't sleep in a chain motel, but my understanding is when your basal metabolic rate goes down, everything in your body gets tuned down to survive on this lower base rate. So, Greg, you're 6'2", 280, right?
Yeah, I'm probably more like 6 foot now. I've shrunk. I was like 6'1.5", but I find right now I'm 6 foot, and
Okay. So let's
it's
say you're
eating
6
me.
foot tall, 6'1" tall for frame.
Mhm.
Let's take the spinal adjustment out. A 6'1" male who is slightly more than sedentary. Would you agree that you're more than sedentary?
Well, with physical therapy, yeah, I would say I'm getting a little exercise now. Before I was
Okay.
definitely.
So you probably have if I went off a chart, off of memory, I would say your basal metabolic rate was no less than 2,200 to 2,400 calories a day. So if you're running it, let's say 1,600 calories or 1,800 calories, go 1,800
Hmm.
calories, that means you'd have a 600 calorie a day decrement, right? Which would
Hmm.
give you a 2 pound a week weight loss, just if we do
Hmm.
straight calories, none of the thermogenic stuff
Right.
like that. So I can see that, but one of the long-term challenges for some people is when you take that basal metabolic rate from now the 2,400 down to 1,600, your body's adapted to that,
Hmm.
right? And there could be long-term issues, like for women when they do that. That's when they get a lot of osteoporosis because they're not eating the calcium and getting the fats and everything, and so
Hmm.
the bones get porous. So when they do priming, what they're doing is they're pretty much waking up the metabolism, cranking the metabolism up by putting lots of calories, because your body, as complex as it is, it's also simple. All right. And simple in that if you eat a whole bunch of food all the time, your metabolism will increase to help metabolize it. And so when they do priming, like for Todd, he was doing one of the people, he's under eating, right? He first started and the caloric deficit gave him that first success rate, and weight falls down. But after a while, the body gets smart. The body's very adaptive, right? Swimmers who swim all the time, particularly female swimmers, distance, if you look at their bodies, they have lots of subcutaneous fat under their shoulders and their backs and everywhere because
Hmm.
their body's one storing energy and all that stuff. So the adaptive body. So there could be a statement to say your body may become adaptive metabolically, and you can get your metabolic basal rate tested at the different gymnasiums or different offices. Well, basically, they put you in a bod pod. They also put a mask and a hood over you, and they measure the air you exhale, all that stuff. And they can tell you what your basal metabolic rate is now. And if it comes out that your basal metabolic rate is lower than, let's say, I don't know what the norm would be, 2,300 for you, if it's lower, then there's some long-term consequences from a hypocaloric diet that may not necessarily bode well in the long run.
Hmm. Interesting.
Just a point of it, just a point, just a
Yeah.
data point. You probably have read lots about it, but for the
Yeah.
general group, I offer that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting for sure. I actually, I know you're asking what I got going on. I was going to tell you, yeah, I had my blood work drawn the other day, and I have my annual physical on Monday with my doctor, and he's going to give me all my results. Now, the nurse did call me, and I had to increase my potassium, which I take a lot of potassium anyways for pills. So, but they said, oh, we'll talk about the rest of your results when you get here. So I'm guessing that there's nothing serious in there, or they would have said something or had me do something different. So it'll be interesting, but I'm going to ask them for that report and then my report from the year before.
Right.
And that'll be fun to compare the two. And I'll probably share that in a video, I'm guessing. So that'll be kind of fun to see the differences and see if anything's hurting me or if I've got improved so much. It'll be kind of fun to see.
Well, I think it's always great too when you can walk into your doctor's office and you got the 100 pounds gone, and you don't have to worry about scale to scale, because their scale to
Right.
scale. and that you're over 100 pounds, you walk in, their jaw has to hit the floor.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So when you get your blood work, will you be sharing some of the numbers?
Yeah, I'll share it in a video this next week, especially when I can get my old ones, just to kind of compare the two. Because it's like, well, yeah, because I'll definitely be 100 pounds less in this, over 100 pounds less on this blood test compared to the one last fall. So it'll be fun just to see what the numbers did, especially being on a keto, low carb, carnivore diet. So
Yeah, I bet you're gonna love seeing your triglycerides, and you're gonna love seeing your A1C. And but it would be interesting to see when you look at your other one. I don't know how much or what type of panels they did, but look at your leukocytes, all the different things that indicate inflammation,
mhm.
and then of course your liver enzymes. Looking at all those, I think you're gonna really be like, this is really cool stuff here. It looks like I said, I like to say like a country western song being played backwards. You get everything back.
Right.
Hey, we got Brad Tiedemann in here. Good to see you. How you doing, Brad? Thanks for dropping by. I see that you said hi. Yeah, I can tell they're coming in on your channel as well. That's awesome.
I will say this with the caloric eating. One thing I do think that, when people are closer to their goal and they're consuming 2.5 pounds of meat, my guess is they need the fat off of that meat, since they don't really have that much on their body. And I'm guessing they have to eat that much. So I'm thinking, well, my body still has a lot of fat on it. So maybe I don't need to eat all those calories now. But as I get to goal weight, I may need to increase how much meat I eat. I mean, that to me makes logical sense.
Yes. I think Butter Bob said something to that one time. Did you ever watch any of his videos?
I don't think I have, so I'll have to check his stuff out.
He was a gentleman who with a lot of energy and a very concise way of saying things. It boiled down, and he said, "Butter makes your pants fall off." But what he talked about was, and then he said he wished he had known, is what you're talking about. There is the idea of, after a while, I mean, you get to a point when you've lost a lot of weight, that the same, and I say that what brought you here won't get you there. So if you ate 2 sticks of butter every day for the first 3 months, you lost 60 pounds of weight, and now you've got the last 30 pounds you're looking at, right? Well, you may not, that same formula won't work because of what you just said. You don't have all that excess. First, you're getting your body used to burning fat, and you got so much to do, and you're carrying on so much weight. Your caloric needs are bigger. But imagine, have you picked up 100 pounds lately, by the way?
No, I haven't. I know what it's like, though.
Have you picked up a bag of dog food, a 50-pound bag of dog food, or anything like that?
No, nothing real. I mean, probably 40-pound bag of softener salt.
Okay, so think about it. You're practically 3 of the 40-pound bags lighter.
Yeah.
Right? So how much more work were you putting in, right?
Right.
So of course you were consuming it. But as you get closer and closer to that goal weight and body composition goal, your need for those calories is decreasing. So if you're giving them exogenously, right? If you're eating them, your body doesn't burn them off. So that's a good argument for what you're saying there. Awesome.
Yeah.
You just discovered Butter Bob. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure, and I'm going to try to be delicate here, but I thought I had heard he had fallen on a consequence for maybe poor decisions. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a lot of videos from him lately. I can't remember exactly to whom to attribute that, but I loved his videos. Him and Kelly Hogan, you put the two of them together, it's going to be corn pone and hoedown time. What are you saying here, Laura? Let's take a quick look here. I think for older women, I probably might be eating more than we're comfortable with once in a while for a day or two, but not. Okay. I was just a step aside out of that one. I got no dog in that fight, but it is interesting to hear people talk about this priming thing. And To me, it's like carb loading, but it's not carb loading. But to eat, I thought Todd was saying he has to eat 20 plus eggs a day,
Hmm.
plus other food. And he said
Oh,
he got so used to being OMAD that he really can't eat 3 times a day.
right.
So there's an adaptive period there that is just probably pretty uncomfortable. Now I still eat twice a day at least, and then have a little snack later on. And tonight for dinner, I missed dinner. Still working. We finally finished putting all the tile up on the fireplace today, but running around and doing things. And then we had a small pet emergency here a little while ago. But running around, I didn't get dinner, so I just fried up like 6 fried eggs, and I had something else with those eggs. Oh, bacon. I had like 4 pieces of bacon. Not huge on bacon at this point in time, but it was ready, and I was hungry, and the house smelled lovely. Love it when I walk in the house and I can smell bacon has been cooked.
That's a
So
really good smell, isn't it?
I know. you know, I heard they make the people that are bacon fiends out there, and people who all bacon all the time. I think they make bacon scented candles.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
I've
would
seen
be
those
right.
before. 20, I will say this, 20 eggs does seem like a lot. I don't know if I could eat that many, but you know, I think everything needs to be done in moderation. Too much of one thing is not good for you, no matter what it is.
Right.
I guess I believe that God kind of made things with balance, and I think that too much of
Absolutely.
one thing is not a good thing.
Yeah, the variety is important. I also think, like I was saying earlier, your body learns things, and it gets adaptive. And then, um, if like the people who are food tasters, or people who smell things, sommeliers, whatever, you do the same thing too many times, and eventually and no one questions it when you're a tennis player and you have to get your shoulder or Tommy John surgery because your pitcher or your elbow, right?
Right.
You only have so many flexations in the Dumaflaci, right? But wouldn't that be the same for the olfactory? Wouldn't it be the same for you can only go to so many rock concerts before you end up deaf, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yep. What's Julia's saying here? Yeah, a lot. Well, they would not consider 10 eggs as moderation. That's true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true.
You
So,
know, I will say this along on my weight loss journey. You know, there was times like when I was on keto that I would have a cheat meal, and you know what it would, especially if I was stalled out, and you know what it would do to me? Usually I think it'd refire my metabolism and I'd lose weight.
yeah,
So, you know, obviously I probably increased my calories when I did that. You know, now I guess if I was doing carnivore, I would cheat to keto, obviously, but it's one of those things that I've done that, and it would restart things for me, and I'd go a different direction. So sometimes you have to your change up what you're eating to get things moving again. So,
well, don't we do that in other silos in our lives? Like if
mhm.
you do the same resistance exercises all the time, your body is smart, it's intuitive.
Yeah,
You have to change it. If you listen to bodybuilders, oh well, now what I'll do is I'll lean this way, I'll lift this way, and I'll do this other thing. And they have this certain type of training. I don't know if you did it in football called proprioceptive training, um, and polymetrics. Like you'll see the
yeah,
guy.
I did some polymetric stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Well, proprioceptive training is you'll stand there. Let's say you're doing alternating one arm dumbbell curls or whatever. You're doing something. What you'll do is you'll take your feet and you'll set them apart a little bit.
Hmm.
Take one foot about an inch off the ground and do it. Right. Use a light weight. By one of your feet not being in contact with the ground, you recruit twice as many muscle fibers to lift the same weight. So what happens is your body says, and I did that for balance. Now I'm a big guy. I got a really bad back. I'm a big guy. I can put my shoes on standing up. I can put them on my feet and I can tie them on one foot, then put that foot down, pick up the other foot, and just kind of like almost sitting Indian style while
Mhm.
standing, and not lose my balance. Because
That's impressive.
I did a lot of the proprioceptive training, right? Just for myself, like bending down to pick up a ball off the ground, but only using one foot, lifting weights with only one foot on the ground. And they say that the predictor of age is your ability to stand on one foot and keep your eyes closed. So if anybody out there saying, wait, what do you mean? Let me stand up straight, lift one foot off the ground with your eyes closed, or the ability to get off the floor without using your hands.
I did that balancing and closing the eyes in physical therapy here a couple weeks ago, and it was hard. I mean,
It's
you could stand there with your eyes open, but then close them, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself moving around and losing your balance.
Well, have you ever been out swimming in the ocean, Greg?
I've been in the ocean, but I don't think I did any swimming. Just waded out, but I've done swimming though, definitely in the
Or
pool.
a big lake, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I remember as a kid, man, I would snorkel. My dad, we were stationed overseas. He was stationed. We were with him, and he took us down. We were swimming in the med and we're doing all that good stuff, right? I have snorkel, put that snorkel on my face, and I'm just a little kid everywhere, going everywhere all day long, right? Okay, now I get older. I'm in the military, and I'm out, and I went to a little island called Mallorca. It's where
Mhm.
people from Germany go on vacation all the time, stuff. So I went down there with a girlfriend, and I decided I'm gonna go for a little bit of a swim, and I'm a good swimmer, good swimmer. So I started off swimming. I'm doing great. Well, then, when you're in a bay, you can kind of see the bottom, right? But then when you get to the shelf and it kind of drops off, you can see a lack of light in the water, right? And I don't know what happened in the head, but I'm like swimming, swimming, swimming. I got over the dark and I had a panic attack. And the water is cooler. It's upwelling water, cooler. And I started to get a little freaky. And I was out a bit. I'm probably out a good 3/4 of a mile,
Oh wow.
I said, okay, wait a minute. Training, up on my back, kicked. I wasn't in a rip tide or nothing bad, but it was amazing what my mind did to me by not being able to see the bottom, you know? Now, the bottom in clear water could still be 30 feet. I'm never going to get there on a snorkel, but I
Right.
could see it, so I felt confident. When I got over that deep water, I was like, I'm done. I'm out, tapping out. Send me home. I'm going back. So it is tough to do things with your eyes closed. Laura says, I have a blow up balance thing to stand on. It's amazing how many muscles. Yes, it does. It does. That's why that exercise ball is so important. Now, right now, what it is a conversation piece. It doesn't do much. It just kind of sits there and it looks at me and it says hi, I think. But it's keeping the guitar, the guitar that I haven't picked up in 3 weeks is keeping that happy too. So, but that whole idea about a balance and your feet being off, it's tremendously helpful for things. And are you going to continue with doing the exercises your physical therapist gave you, even when you're not in physical therapy?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna probably try to do a little bit more walking, to see because this last weekend I went to a college football game and I did more
Right.
walking than I've done in a long time. And I must say my hips didn't get tired. I stood a lot, and normally I couldn't. I could only stand for 20 minutes. I'd have to sit down, and I was able to stand longer than that and do all that stuff. So I mean, it was a good thing. It means I got stronger this year, which is nice. But yeah, I'll probably try to do some of them. Probably not all of them, but I definitely need to make sure I stay up on my strength. And I know I talked to my wife, and I think we're going to join the gym because I think I'm going to need to do some more weights, especially as I'm losing this weight. I want to try to get some of these muscles firing like they should be, and maybe get a little muscle growth, or at least get things firmed up a little bit, as this weight's been coming off me. So
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think you'll do well with that, and if you get some resistance training in that,
yeah.
that'd be real helpful. And because now you're trying to, do you do any fasting?
I have done some, not a lot though. I mean, I only go. It'd be like just only eating supper instead of eating lunch. Just skipping that, but not multiple days or anything like that. But
Well,
I'd like to do a little bit more of that though coming up. I think it'll help. They say that helps with your skin elasticity. So I'm hoping that obviously being as heavy as I was, I'm going to have some excess skin, and I'm hoping that maybe by doing a little bit of fasting that'll help, along with taking some collagen. I should hope maybe that would help too. So maybe it's not so much hanging so much on me, I guess.
well, I do believe, and I'm sure you're very well versed in autophagy, right? And your body will consume. Now, see that it goes back to what you were talking about earlier about what is the body used to, where is the body used to getting the calories? I mean, if you look at POWs, you never see them with baggy skin,
Right.
right? But starvation, no bueno either, right?
Right.
It's interesting to know. Have you read a lot about autophagy?
I haven't. Nope.
Well, I think you personally would be very interested in, because I have read a little bit about the autophagy, and the interesting aspect of it is how the body. So you know how they tell us. I guess you're trying to get what, about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day in.
Oh, I'm more than that. I think I'm I'm probably 120 to 150 right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you be surprised to know? So now, if you look at a flow diagram, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you're in and out, your food in and out diagram going horizontal, left to right, right? Your exogenous protein, 120. In your body every day, your body's turning over 300 or more grams of protein a day, right? Your body is turning over. So the planned cell death, the apoptosis, and other things like that. So your internal organs, all these things have planned cell death, and the thing called the lysosomes in your cells come, they eat the stuff and they digest it, and your body is the ultimate green machine. Your
Mm-hmm.
body does recycling like nobody's business, right? But it's funny to think that we're trying so hard to get 120 grams of protein a day, when one of the real important parts that is that within the 120 grams of protein, you're getting your essential amino acids. You have to eat that much protein to get that much essential amino acids. Otherwise, all the non-essential amino acids are already present in your body.
Yeah.
And so, as your body muscles, so roughly how old are you, Greg?
I'm 51.
So 51, I can't do three. So twice now, all the muscles in your chest, between your ribs, which are the intercostal muscles, those muscles are some of the longest of the tissues that regenerate. That is the longest regeneration time muscle, 17 years. So twice now. So all your college days, remember when you get a good shot in the ribs and it would hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All those muscles, you don't own them anymore. They've all been recycled and replaced. This ear, all this stuff is all new. The thing is for all of our new stuff, it was born in a diseased state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now when you get to go through one or two cycles of a healthy state, maybe that's another reason why inflammation, like the stomach, the lining of your stomach and intestines every 3 days is new. So what's happening with all that stuff? Well, that's your body turning it over this way, and that's what autophagy is. So when your body starts turning over more because you need more stuff, it will start to use, as long as I think people have said if you have that super rapid body fat loss and you have really, it may take a long time, if ever, but it's amazing. I see particularly some of these younger people, when they lose 80 to 100 pounds, I go, well, where's the extra skin? Well, they don't have it.
Right.
But I think you'll do well with that. And I think they say autophagy really is a zero-sum game after 36 hours. So a lot of people really are not recommending more than the 36-hour fast for that purpose. Now, for other purposes, they do it, right?
Yep.
That's cool. That's very cool. So Arlene, I want to make sure you knew that we saw that the repeat happened, and don't worry about it. It's okay. High fat help baggy skin from happening. Well, I guess I'm doing well as I can with the high fat. If you already have baggy skin, well, bypass. I cannot help you there. I don't know that question. I don't know the answer, but I do know this. Um, I do know a lot of insurance will cover baggy skin type situations if it's causing you medical issues like the chafing, and there are infections that can happen in there, growths that go on, and there is a way, I believe, with some insurances, I'm not sure, to do a skin removal if it's causing a problem. I know, Greg, interesting, a lot of offensive linemen end up getting it because after they get off the program, they stop having to weigh 300 plus pounds.
Yeah.
They have a real bad case of Dunlap,
Hmm.
and what happens is that really chafes down in their groin area,
Oh, yep.
and there's some real problems. So then they can get that skin taken off. So,
Yep.
but that's the only thing I can think by that. But I would put surgery off. I saw one young man; he lost like 245 pounds, and you'll see him out there, maybe even more than that. But he is built. He's like rock
Yeah.
built, but he has a lot of skin, and he'll show it, and he goes, "This reminds me what I used to be. I'm okay with this." Because he'll
Yeah.
go through the surgery. So it's really about a mental thing, I think. It really is.
Yeah, I don't plan on getting surgery, but I'm not going to say never because you never know depending on the health situation. But yeah, I'm just going to roll with it. I mean, it's just one of those things that
Is that a pun?
that if there is a health issue, then I'll have to consider it. But I'm hoping that most of it shrinks away. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were trying to make a pun there when you said I'll roll with it. Well, I tell you what, on that note, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Greg, you've been so wonderful to come in and help me out here. I really do appreciate you joining.
Yeah, I hope some people watching got something out of it, and it was I'm glad you let me on tonight, and it was a lot of fun and great conversation as usual. So definitely.
Absolutely. And along the way, if there's anything I can do to help you in your effort to develop your curriculum, and if you need a sounding board or something, let
Okay.
me know. I know people know. Feel free to call or
I
share.
might take you up on that. No, you're very good with words and you have a lot of wisdom. So I appreciate that. That's
Well,
I
again, you're
thank
too kind. We'll do it. And again, I really do have to say, the other night you kind of surprised me when you gave me the appreciation for my military service, right?
you.
But I have to be honest with you, the same thing would go to you and to anybody who takes care of their parents,
Hmm.
sacrificially taking care of their parents. And I don't think enough people are lauded for that appropriately. I know that's not why you're doing it. I know that's not what
Right.
you're looking for, but that generational caring is, I think, a critical element missing from our
Yeah,
society today.
I agree.
And so hats off to you for doing all that you're doing in that regard, because um, more of it needs to happen. So when people can see it can happen and it has a positive impact on you yourself,
Yeah.
I think people would step up to the plate a little bit more. So thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll say this: it makes me happy. I like helping her, and that's the thing. It brings me joy to my heart, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think I wish more people were that way or would do that because I think they'd find great joy in it. And it's not always about making a dollar. And it's about loving one another and serving other people and it's just one of those things. My mom took care of me when I was younger, and it's my turn to take care of hers, much as I can. So,
Well, good on you, and I think that's a great statement for your faith and your walk, to realize that it's all relational,
hmm,
and and
definitely.
and that's where you're going to make. I don't want to say that's where you are seeking crowns, but it's where you receive them. And so good on you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, everybody else out there, hey, Laura and Arlene and Bypass, hey, thanks for jumping in the chat and keeping things good with all the other people who are obviously watching, but they're doing multiple things. And I appreciate you being here. This is really gonna this really pops the watch hours. I find this last week I went over 1,000 watch hours in less than 90 days, and I think that's good. And that's the space I'm living in. I'm living in this space. And so I really thank you all for coming in, hanging in there, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night. Tomorrow night might be a little bit different, or time might be a little bit of an issue because I'm going to go watch some football with some friends. So with that, everybody, you take care. God bless, and we'll see you around, okay?
Thanks again, everyone, for coming on.
All right. Bye-bye.